exactly to approach a big lake in a small boat. What I wanted to show you today is I was able to go fishing on Kentucky Lake a couple of days ago. And in fact, it was last Saturday. And if you're unfamiliar with Kentucky Lake, it's the Tennessee River impounded. And I'll show you here as I'm talking. I guess I can show you what we got here is the southern half is a river. You see this right there. And then as it makes the turn here and you got the Duck River come in, it widens out, and the remainder of the lake is much wider, all the way up here to Kentucky Dam. Now, as you see, there's lots of bays and little coves off of this, and some bigger ones. Kentucky Lake has more shoreline than Lake Michigan. So if you put that into perspective, and you're primarily fishing shoreline, it's almost an inexhaustible resource, especially from a small boat. I only had a few hours to be on the water, and so time management and efficiency in finding something worth catching was key. So where I was going to put in at was right here, and I'll show you exactly what I was doing. So from right here at the boat ramp, well, let's move that in a little bit. From right here at the boat ramp, we see if I were to go back into this bay here, we can go 1.5 miles back into this one bay. Across the lake is over to this other bay is basically 1.5 miles across the lake. I didn't want to get out across the lake in my small boat. I want to stay on whatever side of the lake I put in at. As you saw when I was showing you the lake as a whole, it runs primarily north to south, and so when you get a wind out of the north or out of the south uninterrupted for 30 miles or more, it piles up the waves more than you would think on a narrow body of water. Saturday was perfect to be out there. It was the first day I saw a lot of recreational boaters, and there were literally hundreds and hundreds of bass fishermen. In this one bay here, there was probably 70 boats, probably 50 bass boats. There was a bunch of kayaks. There were some water skiers out early. There was some pontoon boats, wake boats. It was just really, really busy. And so had I put in right here and went into one of these, I could have spent the entire time trolling and casting and trolling and casting in this section, literally in line with 7 or 10 other boats doing the exact same thing. That's not how I wanted to approach fishing. So what I did is I started over here on this point. We'll zoom in here. This picture, this aerial photography here, is taken at winter pool. These lakes, they drain them a little bit during the winter to save room to hold a bunch more water if we have spring rains and floods. This peninsula here at summer pool, this becomes an island with water right here. Well, right now this whole thing is underwater by a couple of feet. So I started out here. There's a channel marker out here. I started out here and I worked my way over this right here. What I wanted to do is I wanted to eliminate scenarios. I know the bass should be moving to their spawning areas. And so I wanted to start with this right here, a main lake point, to see if the fish were staging, schooling, etc. into this area in here. So I fished this area first, and I ended up snagging a gar. I'll show you how that went here. That's a good fish. Is it a drum? Oh, it's a gar. Snagged a gar in the side. That's not what I was looking for. Come here, gar fish. Oh. Snagged a gar in the tail. not what I'm looking for. Come here, Gar. You see that, Gar? Let me just get this off of you. Don't do anything to me. Don't break me off. I'll get you free. There you go. Well, adventurous start to the day. So what I did first, I fished here. I went down the bank here, the main lake shoreline, and then I came into this little section here and fished this section. Once again, most all of this is underwater. In fact, that's where I saw a little deer on the bank right there. That. And I hadn't got a bite in this little section at all for bass. So then I moved over here and I came and I fished down this inside of this cove here. And then I got all the way to the back right here, where this right here at Winterpool, you see, is the end of the bay right here. And it makes this sheltered area when the water is up. It's protected. You have this rocks naturally built up right here, and there'll usually be one little inlet and outlet to this section. I went back in there and I caught a little bass. So that told me I needed to focus on those areas. Nope, here's a little baby one. I had a little bit of a backlash in my reel, so I threw this jig out there and was reeling it in as fast as I could to reset the line, and this little baby bass chased it down. Well, there we go. Not exactly the size we're looking for. But that does tell me I should probably run a square bill or a lipless or something moving across the back of these flats, just in case there is a bass or two sitting there wanting to chase something down. So I came, and instead of fishing any of this right through here, I came and went back into the back section of this one. Once again, this would not have water in it at winter. And I ended up catching another little bass. There's a little bass right there. Well, they're definitely in the backs. I haven't caught anything on the front half of these bays. So that told me I didn't need to waste a bunch of time going across all of this stuff here. What I needed to find was these back little sections of bays. And there happened to be this one right here. And in fact, you see this gravel bar right here is the edge of the water. And I was able to skirt around that and go back into here, this little pocket back here that doesn't even look like it's has water in it. And it's one of those spots where, let me zoom out here. That from the map, it doesn't look like much from the big overhead. We see these big sections back here that are very noticeable, and you might even notice this little section. But this here, this little bitty pocket right there, and not even this much right here, but back in there is where I was able to catch a bass right at 4 pounds. Here we go.
that's a good one. That's a good one. Oh, that's a good one. Oh my. Yeah. Thank you. Oh, that one will make the YouTube channel. There we go. Thank you. Yeah, that's probably about a 4. It ain't too big. It was worth coming back in here though. That's what I'm talking about right there. Whew. There we go. And this is what I'm looking for right here. A small pocket. It's protected from the main lake. It's right directly off the main lake. There's not really much of a creek entrance in here. And it's one of these spots that isn't, you can see right here on the map, it doesn't think I'm on the lake. And that's why I was able to catch this bass right here. Because if you're just running looking for places to look, you won't see this as you run by on the lake. You have to really put in some time to find these little spots. But it's worth it for bass like that.
I went in there, and there was some hikers back enjoying the warm day. It was, like I said, it was the first day everyone was out doing recreational activities. They probably didn't think I was going to catch anything, but I went back in there, and I caught the 4-pound bass. And so when you're looking to eliminate water from a small boat, you need to find something that has basically a microcosm of what the lake is doing to eliminate certain areas. So I fished the points. They're not near deep water. I fished in a few feet of water along the gravelly bars. I fished this one cove right here, both in the middle and down the sides. And then I got to the far back, and I was able to catch a bass. So that told me, move to the far back here. I caught a bass. Move to the far back here that doesn't even look on the map, and even really from aerial photography, that there's even water there. And if you're running by the lake, you wouldn't see that spot. I was able to catch a 4-pounder. Eliminating water. So when you're in a small boat, if I can go 10 miles an hour in my boat, I don't go very many places very fast. So you need to have a good plan. And in just that 3-hour period of time, I was able to eliminate probably 95% or more of this lake to fish for bass. And so had I went the next day, I would have been able to take that pattern and look along the lake and find, all right, like this one here, it's got this little odd shape to it. There's probably a little pocket back here. This one we can see has flats back there. This one, you know, is easily seen. But I'm looking for these ones that kind of have a little odd protection to them, where the water, even if it's blowing, will be a little bit calmer. That's how you put together a pattern in a small boat. And now I understand that's a long ways away. So what I would do is, while I would look for all of these, I'd drop a little pin on them as I go down. And then when I zoom out, I'll see where the most pins on the map are located. And so if I have 5 or 6 pins right in here, and you know, 5 or 6 pins over here, what I'm going to look for is I'm going to look for the nearest boat ramp to this section, and I may fish part of the day, and then whatever's the safest and most efficient, I may trailer the boat, take the ferry and ride over here, and then put it on a boat ramp over here. So that's how you tackle a big lake on a small boat. Find a microcosm of what the lake offers, eliminate where the fish are, where the bass are, and where they're not, and then go back to a satellite map and look for each of those little spots that meet the criteria. Drop a pin on them, and then when you zoom out, you'll be able to see, oh, I have, you know, 20 pins in this 2-mile stretch, or I have none in that 2-mile stretch. That way you'll be able to focus on where you're going to fish in an efficient manner the next day or the next, several days, if that pattern is going to hold up for a little while. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this has been a help. And until next time, I'm Daniel, the Low Budget Outdoorsman. God bless.